Welcome back to the eclectic Blurdy Niche channel. This is the inaugural episode of the Nostalgia Hub, the literature edition. It will be a rundown of the first volume of Wetworks. There'll be spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Wetworks was created by Brandon Choi and Will Portasio and debuted in 1994. It was originally intended to be launched in 1992, but Will's beloved sister passed away during that year, so the launch was delayed. The original run lasted 43 issues. I will review three major lore elements that play crucial roles in most, if not all, Wildstorm comics. First, the Gen Factor is a radioactive biochemical agent harvested from an extra-dimensional nomad, and it mutates most sapient beings on contact. Those that survive exposure gain telepathic and telekinetic abilities, as well as the ability to produce Gen Actives or children with post-human powers. Second, Miles Craven and I.O. are essentially dark reflections of Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. Craven was a decorated Korean War hero who was recruited by the CIA and eventually founded I.O., a shadow network within the Defense Department. He's responsible for creating the Gen Factor and arranging Team 7's exposure to it. Third, Team 7 is essentially the Howling Commandos. Team 0 and Team 1 preceded Team 7, and Jackson Dane was a member of Team 7 who was exposed to the Gen Factor and developed telepathic and telekinetic abilities, and remained on the team to lead their successor, the Wetworks team. The series begins with a team on their way to a terrorist enclave in Eastern Europe to extract a biological agent in their possession. When they arrived, the terrorists were already dead, and the demolition timers were activated, which alerted Dane to the fact that things were awry. When investigating further, they encountered mysterious tubes that contain a golden fluid that Claymore breaks down in technobabble before he becomes coated with the symbiote thanks to Persephone, aka Red. The team is engaged by those who are assumed to be the terrorists, but they quickly discover that the self-proclaimed Night Tribes are not human beings when they continue to fight despite receiving fatal injuries and require more extreme measures to be put down permanently. During this time, they also discovered that the symbiote provided Claymore with invulnerability. So Dane decides that the team's best chance of survival was acquiring their own symbiote. Miles Warren has sent a team of cleaners on 3 airships to eliminate any surviving members when a ground troop failed to dispatch Wetworks. Fortunately for them, Mother One, the leader of the cleaners, and the cybernetic agent of Armand Waring eliminated the I.O. squad and revealed that she also had a symbiote. She informs the team about Craven's treachery and mankind's true enemy, the vampiric Night Tribe. She also offers them a plate with Waring, a wealthy defense contractor, and unknown to them, the Jaguar, the leader of the Were Nation. The individual responsible for the creation is also revealed to be Prince Draken of the House Thome. He wants to take leadership from the Vampire Nation, current leader, the Blood Queen, and unite the tribes against humanity. While under Waring, they become weapons aimed at the vampires and gain an understanding of their symbiotes' both strength and weaknesses. They agree to work with Waring to protect the innocent from the insidious Night Tribes. Draken plans to retaliate against humanity for the loss of the symbiotes by unleashing a biological agent on the audience of a Johnny Savoy concert. Johnny Savoy is the stepbrother of the Blood Queen and the next line of succession, as well as a popular rock star, Thane Lestat in Queen of the Damned. Wetworks thwarts his plans and discover that Savoy is a vampire, and learn that the symbiotes are vulnerable to the vampire's mental abilities at the cost of Flattop and Crossbones' lives. The audience also sees how the team members are individually enhanced by the symbiote. Grail's chi power-up and the generation of chi constructs, Dozer's strength and size growth, and the activation of Dane's psionic abilities. Ever the planner, Prince Draken attempts to seal a partnership with the powerful Daemonite Lord Defile. Wetworks arrives again to thwart his plans, but his execution is interrupted by the arrival of the Wildcats. The Wildcats is a corporate-sanctioned strike team composed of descendants of the Caribbean alien race, a cyborg, a Caribbean Amazon, and a former member of Team 7 and teammate of Dane. In typical superhero fashion, Wildcat squares off against Wetworks based on a misunderstanding, until the potential crash of Spartan systems causes them to retreat. Waring, on the other hand, is personally dealing with the Garut tribe, a werewolf clan allied with Prince Draken. The audience learns that Waring relies on a vampire tool to master his bestial side. Draken makes a bold attempt at the Blood Queen on vampire sacred ground, but while Dane is plagued with the burden of the symbiote and his team's safety. Dozer continues to grow uncontrollably while Grail is locked in his chi form. We also see the extent of Mother One's damage. Raython, the vessel of the Blood Queen, loses his only son and ultimately his bloodline to Draken's schemes. Pilgrim is abducted by a variant of herself who's traveling across the dimensions, eliminating other pilgrims, pretty much like Jet Li in the one movie. Draken is elected the new ruler by the noble houses, and the Blood Queen and Red flee to escape Draken's forces. The Lone One, this world's version of the Frankenstein monster, is introduced when he wakes from his slumber to vanquish some vampire punks and learns that he may not be the only one of his kind. Deathblow and Grifter approach Dane to prevent the Dame Knights from acquiring a key that can destroy the world. The Wetwork team once again squares off against Wildcats, who have allied themselves with the Daemonite Lord Hightower. Hellspawn ultimately thwarts their ambition by claiming the key for himself, and we learn that Claymore is like the Void and is in perfect unity with his symbiote. Waring orders a team to crash Draken's coronation and eliminate him. However, before Dane can eliminate the schemer, Waring in his wolf form interrupts him and demands the right to end Draken. Claymore is seriously injured by a viral agent in the process, and Draken ultimately escapes his lycanthrope assassins. Pilgrim pops up briefly to save Dame, assure him that she will always have his back, and Dozer is now immobile, but is attached to a massive warframe, was called in for backup. The Lone One abducts the descendant of Victor Frankenstein and demands that she completes his bride. Justine Frankenstein is unsure about how to bring the bride back to life, but is convinced by Conrad, an enigmatic creature who appeared in the lab, to do so. The werewolf who accidentally awakened him has gathered the few of his brethren to eliminate the Lone One before he can reproduce. Conrad is revealed to be the true creator of the Lone One, with the intentions of transferring his soul into his immortal body. Victor Frankenstein, his apprentice, ruined his plans by implanting another soul within the body. The wolves reveal that Conrad is an evil associated with the Blood Queen, and his bride is ultimately destroyed in a fracas, and the others have vanished as well. Claymore is isolated from the rest of the team to prevent the symbiotes from being affected, while Waring's medical team tries desperately to save him. The Night Tribe, consisting of dwarves and pig monsters, attack Marshall, Minnesota, and slaughter citizens until Dozer arrives. His warframe is destroyed in the fight, but fortunately the rest of the team arrives to assist. The remaining symbiotes communicate with the team and indicate the cure is in Egypt, specifically in the hidden pyramid. The team heads to Egypt, where they encounter strange stone worms and learn that the Beast King, an ancient symbiote host, and also about the cure. Meanwhile, the audience learns that Waring tampered with Mother One's memory, and locked in the memory is information that threatens him. Her loyalties have also been slowly shifting from Waring to the Wetworks team. The cure to Claymore's illness is a healthy body and a vast amount of energy. Dane volunteers to be the healthy vessel, and Dane, with the assistance of the ancient symbiotes and his team, succeed in saving Claymore's life. The Blood Queen, now referring to herself as the Dragoness, and Red make short work of a bunch of thugs and leave her brand on their mutilated bodies. She expresses her desire to claim her chosen Dane, and Claymore and the team train to hone their skills, while Dane chastises them for growing soft by relying too much on their symbiote. Waring worries about Mother One as she rendered his nuclear arsenal useless by changing the access code, and continues to bond with the Wetworks team. The team is dragged into a company-wide crossover event where the Wildstorm universe learns the true origin of the Gen Factor. A Stormwatcher on the base is attacked by a sword and the agent of Damocles, a corrupted scientist and world destroyer. Meanwhile, on Earth, there are earthquakes and other natural disasters occurring globally, and the Wetwork team rule out the Vampire Nation, but are rudderless without Dane, who has joined Taboo, the wearer of an unrelated vampiric symbiote, and a partner of his former teammate Backlash. And from them, we learn that his previous team, 7 comrades, who all seem to be dying. The Aquarians, an aquatic night tribe, is introduced, and is also decimated by the natural disasters. The Wetwork team sneaks out of their base to go to the source of the chaos, while Dane and Taboo evade Gomorran hunter killers and ultimately encounter the Stormwatch leader battalion. Gen 13, Union, Backlash, Taboo, Wetworks, and Cybernery have teamed up to battle Kazan Gomorrah, the leader of the nation of Gomorrah, and enemy of IO and the world at large. We learn that Grifter, Lynch, and Dane are dying because Gomorrah has stolen the Gen Factor. The company-wide event ends with Dane once again possessing his Gen Factor, and the Wetworks team is ordered by Waring to protect children in a small town. The kids are attacked by aquatic monstrosities with the ability to cloak themselves from radar. The team is able to save a few kids, but some are killed by the monsters. Dozer is now out of his mechanical warframe and is able to get around his own thanks to Grail's meditation help. We learn that there's no longer a body underneath Jessa's symbiote, and Blackbird, an enigmatic indigenous soldier, is introduced and dispatched monsters that escape the team. He is brought before Waring, where we learn he's also responsible for the babysitting mission, and that he's a werewolf and the older brother of Pilgrim. We also learn that Pilgrim is a werewolf with a high potential, and for that reason she was placed under Waring's protection. Blackbird states that he will remain with the team until his sister is found, and if she turns up unharmed, he will leave without any trouble, but if she's never found, the debt will be paid in the Jaguar's blood. We also learn that the Dopplers, the aquatic cloaking monstrosities, are extremely durable and could only be destroyed by destruction of their brain or the complete annihilation of their body. One of these captured specimens attack Dane unexpectedly, but he's saved by Mother One. Blackbird assists Grail with defeating the Doppler while in his werewolf form. Pilgrim returns to the main universe and reveals to the team that she's been gone for 6 years in the other dimension. We learn that the child under Blackbird's care is still alive and the team goes to protect them. Claymore and the others learn that Blackbird's a werewolf, but are asked to keep it a secret from Pilgrim because she is one of the pureblood wolves that isn't susceptible to the rage and could potentially lead their people in the future. We also learn that Wayne Gordon is responsible for the Doppler attacks and has a vendetta against the Weird Nations. The team takes the battle to Gordon's headquarters where they confront armored goons and genetic experiments. They discover that Gordon is already deceased, suspect that it's due to an adverse reaction to his fabricated symbiote. And during their battle, Blackbird perishes, but he's revived once Pilgrim tinkers with the timeline. We learn that Pilgrim can travel through time in addition to traveling through dimensions. She confesses to Dane that he is her beacon for finding her way back, and warn him about the coming of the Dragoness, the recently dethroned Blood Queen. The audience also learns that Gordon's associate, Lady Fane, has a symbiote and possesses the same metamorphic qualities as Jesters. The men of Wetworks, excluding Dane and Dozer, engage in a friendly skirmish while the women soak up some sun. Sight of Mother One and Pilgrim cause Dozer to have an embarrassing wardrobe malfunction. The fun is ultimately ended with the arrival of Red, who engages the team in combat with the Dragoness confronts Dane. The Dragoness is dominating the fight until Dane learns that she's responsible for the team receiving their symbiote. She transforms into the form that's been haunting his nightmares since issue 3, and the battle is once again in her favor. Fortunately, Waring in his werewolf form intervenes before the Dragoness can claim Dane's life. Dane learns that Waring is a werewolf, and the Dragoness is a potent telepath. Dane prevails over her in a psionic battle, and Red appears to plead for her life. Dane spares her, and Red departs with the remark that Dane's an honorable man. She hopes to meet him again under more amicable terms. Dane confronts Waring about his lies before seeking medical assistance from Pilgrim and Mother One. Kane, while posing as Mother One's mother, reveals the truth about her past. She was a government agent hired to protect Waring, and she was grievously injured by a rival werewolf clan attack, and she later bonds with the symbiote during the attack. Waring converts her into a cyborg and erases the memory of the incident. Kane is revealed to be a disembodied brain in a jar. Lady Fane reappears and confronts the team with the reanimated Flattop and Crossbones. The symbiotes somehow store their souls and Fane controls their body. Dane is able to connect to Crossbone, where he learns the full extent of the torturous existence and how they are forced to relive their deaths daily. Crossbone also reveals to Dane the role the Mother One played in their deaths. Dane orders Grail to euthanize them, but the symbiote reforms their broken bodies. Mother One appears suddenly and infects them with the enhanced version of the virus that infected Claymore. Dane is forced to use a full extent of his psionic powers to grant them some peace before they succumb to the additional agony of the virus. Fane reveals that she can control their symbiotes when she takes over Jester's symbiote. Mother One, under the influence of Kane, steals a shuttle from Waring and flees to Red Winter. Waring remarks that she has enough power to destroy the world. Mother One uses Red Winter, an unmanned satellite with the ability to access the world's nukes, in order to take over and launch Russia's nukes. Waring reveals that she can access every nuke on the globe, but she shouldn't be able to because she doesn't have the information. Lupo, Waring's ever-present faithful assistant, remarks that Kane is a possible culprit. Kane is a synthetic computer based on Waring's brain patterns. Mother One contacts them, expressing her desire to meet with Dane and the team. She states that any other attempt to contact her will be met with lethal force, and if Dane refuses, major cities will be nuked. Wetworks complies and heads to space. We learn the Mother One is trying to resist Kane and go against his genocidal plans, and Claymore's symbiote, while in space, instinctively reacts to save his life. The team engages Mother One and attempts to free her from Kane's influence while Waring tries to physically access Kane on Earth. The crisis is ultimately averted when Waring destroys Kane. Dane, who's tired of all of Waring's lies and manipulations, departs from Mother One and the rest of the team. The vampire rebels, who call themselves the Claws of the Dragon, are resisting Draken's rule, while Johnny Savoy seeks out Dominus. Dominus is his father and the powerful emperor of the pureblood vampires, who also commands Lady Fame because of her mastery of the Gorons, the massive species of stone serpents that Wetworks encountered in Egypt. Blackbird reveals that he and Pilgrim are half-siblings sharing the same father, and the tribal leaders are children should be able to help them learn how to eliminate the frenzy from contact with Pilgrim. Their arrival is interrupted by Waring, who's eager to learn how to eliminate the frenzy as well. The shaman's ritual triggers the wolf within Pilgrim, and she transforms into a full werewolf covered by the symbiote before fleeing. She resembles the werewolf from that horror movie, Project Bastille Beast. The tension is broken by Draken's surprise attack. Draken's attack is interrupted by the arrival of Dominus and Lady Fane. Dominus confronts Draken for the insult of removing his daughter from the throne, and Draken reacts by fleeing in terror as Dominus cuts through any unfortunate soul in the path of his axe. Pilgrim regains control of herself and remembers that she slew her own mother as a teen when the frenzy took over her. Dominus turns his attention to Dane for defeating his daughter, and would have ended him if not for the intervention of Grail. Grail, in turn, is bested by Dominus, but he's spared by Johnny Savoy, who felt a debt to Wetworks for saving his bandmates. Claymore confronts and attempts to end Draken before he saved things to a teleporting minion. Dominus continues to tear through the wolves, Wetworks, and Draken's forces until the sun rises, causing him to retreat. Waring and the team part on bad terms while Shaman reveals that Pilgrim overcame the frenzy by forgetting that she ever was a wolf. The team sets up camp in a Team 7 safe house that was furnished thanks to Dane's old teammate, the Grifter, and on the Halo Dollar. The arrival also triggers the activation of Mal Craven's final wish, the elimination of Team 7 through the deployment of Black Razor, and a lead IO kill team with advanced weapons and armor. Black Razor ambushes them while they attempt to have fun at the carnival. They easily vanquish the Razors, and they are then confronted by the Night Stalkers, the lead group led by Dag, a deranged old acquaintance of Dane, completely loyal to IO. Grail is fatally injured by Dag and sacrifices himself to save the team. Claymore goes ballistic on Dag as a result. The decision to put down an unconscious Dag leads the team to question if the symbiote has altered his mind. Dozer gives Mother One a chi orb as a memento to remember Grail. And within a night tribe stronghold, and within the night hole, the pure blood vampire home, the Blood Queen pleads with her father to allow her to retake her lost kingdom from Draken. Her requests are denied. Her pleas are also interrupted by the arrival of the royal tracker, who reports that he found Kiradon, the soul bender. Dominus reveals that he lost his eye to an encounter with Kiradon, and refuses her and Fane's request to say Kiradon. Johnny Savoy is Dominus' chosen hunter for this beast. Kiradon slays a camper and leaves his desiccated body for his wife to grieve over, as well as victims within Seattle. We learn that Kiradon is the result of a vampire and werewolf mating. It's not exactly Michael Corvinus, but something far more frightening. Savoy finds the beast, but is virtually unstoppable in his current state due to the availability of spare parts provided by his kidnapped victims. He approaches Wetworks and convinces them to assist him in ending the threat. Kieradon is a formidable foe who becomes more potent after feats on the soul. It overcomes the team while Dane's sacrifice gives Claymore the opportunity to take over and merge with just a symbiote. With the assistance of Wilder, one of Savoy's bandmates and fellow vampire, Pilgrim, and Dane's psionics, Claymore ends the beast. Red informs them of Dominus' plan to purge the vampire nation of their muggles and his overall threat to humanity. Dane refuses to help due to the bad blood between him and the vampires. Grail survives the destruction of his physical body and communicates with Mother One before his energy dissipates. Claymore fortunately arrives to prevent this from happening by placing his essence within Dozer. This causes Dozer to lose control of his size and require the warframe once again. Dane visits his family using Jester as a disguise and reveals that all reports of his demise are greatly exaggerated. His family reunion is interrupted by the arrival of aliens. These aliens also possess symbiotes and are there to retrieve the nexus, aka Claymore. Claymore escapes thanks to his teammates and learns the origins of the symbiote. They're creations of an ancient extinct race. They seek knowledge across the cosmos, and the nexus is a transference hub that returns information to original mass. Each symbiote eventually leaves its host once the experimentation is done. The aliens hope that Claymore could free them from the symbiote without dying in the process, but the ultimate decide that he's too inexperienced to help them and leave Earth. Dane agrees to assist the vampire siblings in defeating Dominus. Raython distracts Dominus so the Blood Queen can attack her father, but she's unable to finish him off. Dane and Savoy have entered the battle. The rest of the team also enter the battle as well. Pilgrim infects Fane with the symbiote virus, and Dominus ends her for her derisive comments towards him. Claymore figures out how to split Dozer and Grail has a rematch with Dominus. With the help of Red, sacrifice of Raython, he vanquishes the Pure Blood King. Lupo, meanwhile, betrays Waring to Draken, who in turn devours him. The team learns about Waring's defeat when the contour of Black Razor, who assume that they're responsible for Lupo's death and the destruction of Waring's compound. Draken takes over Claymore and kidnaps Dozer, who he transforms into a massive pyramid in Phoenix, Arizona. Dane benches Jester, Mother One, and Grail because they're susceptible to Draken's influence, while he and Pilgrim go to rescue their comrades. Draken ends up capturing Jester and Pilgrim as well. The Blood Queen reappears to throw her lot in with Dane. Draken reveals that he's been using the combined symbiotes to control the surrounding cities and expand his influence. Girl and Mother One also captured and added to the circuit. While Blackbird frees Waring, the Blood Queen reveals how she has shaped and manipulated Dane's life and forged him into her champion. She enters Draken Lair with Dane and Savoy. Savoy adds Dane to the circuit, and all appears to be lost for the Blood Queen. Dane frees himself and goes after Draken. Draken unleashes the Team on Dane, and Waring partially disrupts his control by activating Pilgrim's lycanthropic transformation. Dane fully frees them with a psionic blast. Draken flees, but he's cornered by Waring and Blackbird before fleeing again. Pilgrim frees Dane from the Blood Queen's influence, and Claymore is stuck in a debilitating bug form and uses Jesse as his leg to reach Dozer and to end both of their suffering. Blackbird confronts Waring over his years of treachery and lust for power. Waring reveals that he's his father, then attempts to slay him when he doesn't join his side. The unraveling of the pyramid also ends Waring's threat. Savoy puts down Draken for good in the end. While the team mourns the death of Claymore and Dozer, Savoy and Blackbird announce the end of the threat from the Night Tribes now that they rule their respective empires. Savoy also informs the grieving team that death isn't the end because the Nation of Shades exists. Unknown to everyone, Ben Santini, one of the few heroic members of IO, saves Phoenix from being nuked at the cost of his career. Dominique Faust, Santini's replacement, approaches the team to be the replacement for Black Razor. Dane says that they will only agree if IO agrees to their terms. She refuses and orders their arrest. They eventually escape from an off-the-grid prison and free Santini in the process. Their escape gave them leverage they needed to get the deal in their terms. Pilgrim encounters search and destroy energy beings similar to Grail under the employ of Ava Hawthorne, the head of a multinational company and allied to the international terrorists. Pilgrim, along with Jester and Grail, set up a trap for search and destroy, while Dane and Mother One infiltrate Hawthorne's yacht. Dane and Mother One learn that St. Crispin and Hawthorne intend to trigger a race war, and he orders Pilgrim to take him out. The timely interference from a vigilante, the Loner, saves his life. Crispin, who's meta-human, thwarts Pilgrim's second attempt on his life and captures her. Mother One reveals that the villains planted tactical nukes in minority neighborhoods to trigger the race war while destabilizing the nation. The Loner sister team locating and disarming the bombs while Dane pursues the villains. The others manage to neutralize the nukes while Dane rescues Pilgrim, the cost of getting captured himself. The villains steal his symbiote, and he's eventually rescued, and the team goes to South America to capture the villains. Okay, we learn that St. Crispin is an IO operative who was undercover as a terrorist to lure in true terrorists but went native because it was lucrative. The rest of the team, outside of Jester, is captured. Hawthorne summons Search and Destroy. Grail, who's hidden within Jester, is easily able to defeat them. Hawthorne then summons MC Squared, who's specifically created to eliminate Grail. Grail tricks him into detonating and destroying himself and the other villains in the process. Unfortunately, Dane's symbiote is also a casualty as well. Stonewatch is dispatched to South America to investigate the recent events, and a dying St. Crispin pins the blame on Dane. Wetworks' next mission involves taking out General Kabul of Siran and replacing him with Jester to introduce change to the dictatorship. Stonewatch appears and captures Jester, Grail, and Mother One, while Dane and Pilgrim are officially an item after 30 issues of Mulder and Scullying things. We learn that Stormwatch has captured their teammates, but IO can't aid them because they're officially not sanctioned by them. Jackson King, the weatherman and leader of Stormwatch, has a heated exchange with Dane, where he calls the team terrorists and states their fate will be decided by the UN Council. They retaliate by capturing Fahrenheit and Hellstrike from Stormwatch. Dane uses Hellstrike's ID to infiltrate their orbital base. And Dane then distracts the weatherman while Pilgrim frees the rest of the team. Mother One, who's still comatose due to Stormwatch tampering with her, and Ivana Bayul, the Big Bad from Gen 13 now runs IO, makes a brief cameo appearance interrogating Santini's secretary about the whereabouts of Wetworks. The two teams finally hashes things out, and Wetworks and the captured Stonewatch agents are freed. Back on Earth, the Mother One is awake but missing. We learn that Rostov, a Russian psychic ghost that actually ran against Dane, possessed her and Alicia Turner, the former lover of Grifter and Santini's assistant. Dane approaches Backlash for intel while Pilgrim picks up John Lynch. Rostov, piloting Mother 1, confronts the Wetworks team and causes them to crash. Lynch and Dane are also separated from the rest. Rostov and Alicia's body confronts and torments Grifter while he eventually takes over Grifter's body. Grail frees Mother 1 by rebooting her system, and Rostov is now a potent threat while he's in Grifter's body. He collapses the entire mountain on top of Dane and Lynch, and we learn that Rostov was assassinated by Team 7, specifically by Michael Cray, aka Deathblow. He was able to survive until the Soviets came and housed his mind in a special container. He brought on the Soviet Union from behind the scenes due to his displeasure with them, and he was acquired and locked away by Miles Craven until Alicia Turner unwittingly freed him. He effortlessly handles the team until Grifter begins to resist, and Jester, assuming Deathblow's form, gives Grifter the opening he needs to disperse Rostov's mind. Dane expresses his desire to vanish and stop being a tool before walking off in the sunset, and with that, the first volume is over. Alright, here are my thoughts on the first volume. The story would have benefited from giving the vampires and werewolves robust origins, or at least dedicated an annual to establish a unique lore for each tribe and set them apart from other iterations that came before. As it stands, the Were Nation felt like a derivative of the lycanthropes featured in the Werewolf Apocalypse card game, minus the uniqueness of each clan and the variation of werewolf form and types. The later writers introduce the concept of pure blood and mixed blood vampires, but don't expand upon the differences. And it seems that the lone one was an interesting element that was ultimately forgotten and never introduced into the main story. Likewise, Conrad, who was hinted at having a connection to the Blood Queen, was never explored, nor his motivation for having an immortal body. Caradon was an unexpected addition to the story that needed some expansion. They should have explained the specifics behind the creation of the soul-stealing feral beast. Is it the result of a vampire mating with a werewolf? And the Aquanarians were introduced and hinted at being a formidable force, but never factored into the main story as well. And Johnny Savoy, as it stands, was a pale imitation of Lestat. It could have benefited from more character development. The overall story lost momentum, in my opinion, when the enemy shifted from the supernatural to mundane. Their uniqueness came from their premise of a technologically advanced group of soldiers using their abilities and tools to combat the supernatural. The extraterrestrial origins of the symbiote was unexpected, but felt disjointed from the original introduction as Draken's experiments. And this reveal would have had more weight if it tied the aliens to the original location, to the original symbiote that was located in Egypt, and explained how Draken was able to control and replicate the symbiote. And the drastic art shifts through the entirety of the run was also detrimental and jarring. Portacio's art set a certain tone for the series, and should have been followed by artists like Jay Lee or Travis Charez that could match that tone. Subsequent artists weren't bad in any sense, but they seemed too light or animated for such a gritty and dark premise. If you are new to this channel and like what you see, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. Until next time, stay geeky.